Spent in a miserable way.
U.S. News: El Chapo trial winds up with the key question: WHO's the boss? Los Angeles. The prosecutor's message to the jury on Wednesday morning was clear: Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was the boss. U.S. Assistant Attorney Andrea Goldberg, who travels in armored cars, who has not won, a boss of the Sinaloa cartel, she answered. And the evidence for it, she told jurors, is staggering. Guzman, 61, faces 10 criminal counts, covering accusations that he sold hundreds of tons of cocaine, meth, heroin and marijuana. Conspired to murder. Goldberg took jurors through every count, each violation. She told them devised plans to successfully transport tons of drugs using cross-border tunnels, submarines and boats disguised as fishing vessels. He smuggled some 90 tons of cocaine into the States, between 1990 and 1993, in cans that were labeled Flagellates and 241 peppers, she said, adding that the value of the chili can coat topped $1 billion. She recounted the gruesome testimony one of them all then gave just a few days ago. High in the mountains of Sinaloa, two men, already bloodied and beaten, lay in front of a raging fire, she said. Guzman listed it. The grisly scene showed Guzman for what he was, Goldberg said, a ruthless leader who used violence and corruption to amass billions in profit for his criminal enterprise. Sure, some of the most devastating testimony against Guzman came from his former higher-ups, most of whom are convicted criminals, Goldberg said. But, she told jurors, the government is not asking you to like them. Most importantly, she said, the testimony about drug sales, corruption and murder has been corroborated. She emphasized again and again that what witnesses said. Jurors also heard Guzman himself say in the scores of intercepted messages and texts they heard or were read during the trial. You know it's true because you heard it from the defendant's own mouth, she said. She played jurors some of the key recordings of Guzman, him talking to a Sinaloa State Police commander, arranging a shipment of drugs near the coast of Los Angeles, discussing a bribe. She played video of him interrogating a man whose hands were tied around a pole, and she showed them. Goldberg ended by referencing what has perhaps made Guzman most famous, his escapes from prison via those. Guzman, who sat projecting calm in a dark grey suit and tie, could face life in prison if he is convicted. Before the closing started, the morning began with a curious request from a juror. She wanted to know whether Guzman was paying for his own lawyers. The judge told her jury deliberations could begin Friday. The defense to portray the case against Guzman as a conspiracy and their client as a victim, less a sophisticated boss than a figurehead that a corrupt system built into a mythical scapegoat. Goldberg appeared to be trying to head off that strategy, telling jurors that all the government's mountains of evidence pointed to this simple conclusion: this is the defendant, running his empire. Clay Chiaf is a special correspondent.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.